Officers have been questioning this man when he was found wandering in the customs area after arriving off a flight from Canada. Concerned by his recent travel movements, they have decided to take a closer look.
No booking confirmed. What about funds? Can he support himself?
Do you know what his funds are? I didn't check. I can't. Don't know how much.
Can you find out?
I'll find out how much. Yeah.
Your grounds were good enough to detain him for frisk.
However, after a bag search, the passenger is now refusing to be frisk searched, and that has officers concerned.
I went to metal detectors. I went to all these things.
When you arrived?
No, from Canada all the way to here.
Well, they don't detect drugs. Yes. They don't detect drugs. They detect other things.
You X-ray people. You do everything.
Well, we don't X-ray people.
It's strictly for the principal.
They don't X-ray people.
I will wait for the justice. For
listen to me for a sec. They don't X-ray people in Canada. They X-ray their bags.
We go to a machine.
Oh, that's just a metal detector to see if you've got metal on you. Weapons or anything like that. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for drugs to see if you have drugs.
I don't have
Simple
drugs,
pat-down search to see if you have any. So at the moment we're detaining him for a 219 frisk search. He's refused that. So we're looking to upgrade it to an external search, which involves taking all his clothes off.
At Sydney Airport, quarantine officers are flat out processing the morning flights, looking out for any items that could be a risk to Australia's environment and primary industries. Officer Annie has detected some suspicious material on a baggage X-ray of 2 Chinese passengers.
The X-ray image has indicated some organic material, which is possibly food items. Some items are a high risk for quarantine, and so they must be looked at. Did you read the questions today?
Yes, of course.
Did you understand them?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so this is your bag? Auntie's bag?
My aunt's bag.
Auntie's bag. Okay, so she knows everything inside this bag? Okay.
Immediately, the officer starts to locate food and medicines, which the passengers have not declared.
This one, medication?
Yeah.
Okay. What's this one?
It's Chinese food, like sauce.
Some sauce? Okay.
Yeah.
You've indicated, see this question number 6 that asks for any food must be declared to quarantine. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Question number 7, again, asks for any medicine, anything that comes from plant material, any traditional medicine. Okay.
As Annie continues her search, she discovers bags and bags containing some truly bizarre and potentially dangerous contents.
That's a snake. That's a part of a snake.
In the Sydney Mail Handling Centre, all incoming post could pose a threat to Australia's safety and security, so every piece of mail must be screened.
We're looking for all items that are prohibited, being anything from tablets through to weapons, knives, guns, and of course narcotics.
Sometimes all it takes is a small clue.
Now this parcel's caught my attention. It's coming out of India, and the sender's details seems a little odd. It looks as though the name has been made up. It's almost like calling yourself Donald Duck or something like that. It just stands out to us. No way is somebody called that. All right, let's chuck it through and see what's on the X-ray. There's a lot of organic material in there. I can't make out exactly what's in there. It looks like there is a couple of wooden boxes, and given all that organic material in there, it's hard to say if there is or if there isn't something inside that box that should not be there.
This passenger is still refusing to be frisked, and his lack of cooperation won't deter customs from seeking the truth.
So your only objection is the principle of it?
Yes, because this gentleman is doing his job very well.
Yeah.
He made me backtrack my trip from the last time I came down.
Sure.
I was even... You got my vacations in your hands. I don't...
Sorry?
You have my vacations in your hands. You say either no, you come in, or no, you don't come in. So that's it, man.
Well, there's no issue about you coming in. You've cleared immigration. You're here for a holiday.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'm coming into my vacation.
So we just want to see if you've got drugs on you, and if you don't, you'll be right to go.
If the passenger continues to refuse the search, he could be in for a very long wait. At the mail centre in Sydney, Customs Officer Jake is examining a parcel from India. An X-ray of the package revealed an irregularity.
Just need to find the best spot to go in, which will probably be on the underside.
The package has to be carefully deconstructed by officers in the event that the item they're handling is needed as evidence if further investigations are carried out.
All right, here we go. This is what I was mainly concerned with. All right, so we've got a wooden box and also a chessboard.
On the X-ray, Jake saw two packages concealed within a wooden box, so that's what he's focusing on.
All right, I'm going to have a look to see what's inside this box and also the chess set. Some sort of statuette or something. Other than that, the box appears to be empty. I can't see any real segments or sections in here, but if I open it up and have another X-ray like this, it should be able to tell me if there's actually something concealed underneath. I'll do the same with the chess set. At this point, I'm looking to see if I can see any grooves or obvious concealments underneath. The chess set is actually odd. Well, as you'll see, we've got two different sized knights here. That is not the main problem. You can play a game of chess with two different sized pieces. But the fact that there is a third knight here, which is a good indication to me that it's not a legitimate chess set. That's a little odd to me.
That's a part of a snake. That's part of a worm. I mean, a whole beetle. A whole beetle.
At Sydney Airport Quarantine, Officer Annie has discovered huge amounts of undeclared and bizarre food in the bags of these passengers.
Big problem for Australia, sir. Big problem for our environment. Seed pods, unidentified plants, carrying pathogens, viruses, and they're just bags and bags and bags of it. It's just, it's too much. These look like traditional medicines, which will possibly be boiled and possibly be mixed in with other ingredients and drank. But a lot of these ingredients then get thrown away, and that's where it starts to enter the environment.
The sheer number and quantity of high-risk items in the many bags leaves Annie with only one course of action.
Okay, so today you're going to be issued with a $220 fine.
Place them through the X-ray.
A chess set has arrived from India, and Officer Jake is looking for inconsistencies.
And the X-ray image for the chess pieces looks fine, and the statue too, so they're fine. I'm confident now that if there is a concealment, it will just be in the wooden box and the chess set. You can see what appears to be 4 separate concealments in that chessboard. 1 in each panel. So, to me, it appears like there's definitely something in that. Just put this one through as well. Well, there's definitely something in there. I can see 2 concealments in that one. And so I'll probably have to pry open the wooden box to see if I can get into the actual concealment.
A passenger arriving from Canada is refusing a frisk search.
Do you want me to go and have a word with him and explain to him from our point of view?
See what he says, yeah.
If the passenger declines consent, a justice of the peace will be called in to arbitrate.
So that's what will happen at the next stage.
Yep.
Which, honestly, isn't it easy just
For the
to...
principle, for the principle acts. If you understood my ground, I'm so sure of myself.
Yeah, but you're
for the
making me
principle.
Our cameras have been filming the passenger all along, but suddenly he becomes interested in our equipment.
You don't have to have the cameras here if you don't want it. Yeah.
Leave the camera, Adam.
Yeah.
Leave the camera.
All right, so basically they're just doing a job. We're just customs. What's your job that you do in Canada?
I'm a server and I'm in a vegan restaurant and I do web content also and I'm a father also.
So what's the reason for the trip here? Holiday?
Yes, holiday, sir.
Okay, well you can understand. You serve in a restaurant, you just do that for a job. These guys are just doing the same thing as I am. A frisk search is a really simple search just to make sure there's nothing concealed and anything like that. And honestly, it's a very simple thing. It's done a lot of times in Australia. It gets complicated now if we still want to go ahead and try and get it done because we've got to go through our legal process.
Honestly, for the fact that my word is not good enough, let's take an hour or two. Why not?
Well, it's going to be longer than an hour.
Now a justice of the peace will determine if he's just an innocent tourist making a personal statement, or is he refusing the search because he has something to hide. At the mail handling centre in Sydney, Jake is deconstructing a suspicious wooden box from India.
Bingo, there we go. There we go, the two concealments. And it's got a strong odour, so that suggests to me that it is indeed heroin. So if I conduct a nick test now on the actual powder, that will give me a definitive answer.
If the nick test turns green, Jake will have a positive result for heroin.
Heroin. Yep, definitely heroin. At this stage, I'm not going to deconstruct the chessboard any further, so I'm going to leave that for the AFP to deconstruct and send this whole package off to them so they can deal with it further.
With one successful hit for customs, a second package from India has just caught Jake's attention. And unbelievably, it looks like another chess set.
This is not permitted, and more importantly, sir, is that they weren't declared. Okay?
At Sydney Airport Quarantine, these passengers have been issued a $220 fine for bringing in undeclared bags of Chinese soup mix containing a witch's brew of plant material.
Dirt, soil, seeds, mixed nuts.
As well as whole beetles.
There's the beetle. Pathogens and viruses can come through on beetles.
And parts of snakes.
That's an unidentified snake. Not only is it, well, pretty much a quarantine issue, it could also be a CITES issue. That snake could be an endangered species. Completely prohibited, absolutely, without an import permit.
This is my the first time to Australia. She know nothing about
This is a lot of food. This is half a suitcase full of food, okay?
I'm sorry to bring so much trouble.
Despite the passengers' apologies, the fine will stand, as the contents of the bags are simply too hazardous to allow them to go unpunished.
It clearly states, in a language that you understand, on both lines, misrepresentation of food and traditional medicine, sir, okay?
With the fine paid, the passengers are sent on their way, and the prohibited items will be destroyed. Customs officers in Sydney are trying to uncover why a Canadian man is refusing a frisk search.
His decision to refuse frisk escalates the search, and we've put in the wheels in motion to go to the next step. If he chooses to agree to the frisk search, I'll reassess and we'll take it from there. We've got grounds to detain you, as we do with a lot of people. It would be a lot easier for you and for us. I'm not pushing pressure on you, but honestly, you know,
For once, I'm going to stand my ground because I was cooperative to Mr. here. I was cooperative. I was. I told him everything about my life. I told him about my trips.
Yeah.
He went through my things. He went extensively through my things. What else is there? What else is there?
Okay. The only other thing is,
there could be traces on my shoes.
Yeah, which is actually, at this stage, there's no removal of clothing. But if we go to the next stage if you refuse.
I'm so
a
sure.
frisk.
I'm
We
so
will
sure
get-
myself,
yeah.
sir. That
Okay.
So at the moment he's refusing the frisk search. If we take him to a room, he's going to refuse an external search because it's a high level of search. So at the moment we're just trying to get a JP to come and speak to him. The Justice of the Peace would come out and we've give the Justice reasons of why he should be frisk searched or body searched, and he would make a decision on whether he can go or whether he's held here and strip searched.
If you did a quick frisk search in a private room, it's done.
it's just because
I'll let the officer.
he actually did his job
Yeah.
well. He offered me
Yeah.
to say no. I say no, just for that. If I
you-
was forced to,
would you
man, I'll go, man.
Yeah. Well, this is the option. This will escalate to a position where we'll put a strong case to a
have to do
JP,
your
an
job.
independent
You have
person,
to do your job,
to do
sir.
it. Basically,
your
once
job.
people refuse a search, then we put our instruments in place if we feel that we need to search
I
a door. So,
understand, but I'm sure myself.
you sure? So you're standing on principle rather than any other reason.
Yes, my heart, myself. I'm true to myself at least.
At the mail centre in Sydney, Customs Officer Jake has come across not one, but 2 packages with very clever concealments, both from India.
All right, well, you can see here we've got the chess pieces, and there's some sort of board here, which I'd say would be the chessboard. But within that board, you can actually make out these white lines. To me, that is a good indication that there is something in there that should not be there.
When the second package is opened, another chessboard is discovered. So it's back to the X-ray to look for another possible concealment.
This time it appears that the chess pieces are, in fact, a complete set. They appear to be fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Now, I'll just place the chessboard through. Okay, in this chessboard, I can see 2 clear concealments. If I just highlight that, it'll stand out even more. So you can see the white lines once again, as from the first X-ray image. It's a lot clearer now. You can see it breaking up in here, which is an indication that it's a powder. I'd say this is probably heroin as well. So, considering the earlier find, which was quite good, this is also connected. That's great. We might have stumbled onto something a little bit bigger.
And there are further concerns when Jake examines the chessboard.
The fact that the chessboard appears to have been tampered with, that definitely warrants further investigation.
An itemizer test will confirm if the substance in the second package could be heroin.
Definitely heroin. That's a very good find, considering we've got 2 chessboards now out of India, both with heroin concealed inside. It's fantastic.
The total weight of the heroin was over 800 grams, with an estimated street value of $320,000.
I guess now I will always be looking at chessboards coming out of India, won't I?
There's a standoff in customs as a passenger is refusing a frisk. And he's either standing on principle or he has something to hide.
Yeah, we've got this guy came in from Canada. He's here for a 15-day holiday. We've just detained him for a frisk search and he's refused the frisk search.
All right, so if you change your mind, just contact me and we can get a quick pat-down search done.
Thank you, sir.
Quickly as possible, but if you want to
No,
pursue this on a
honestly, I've been
principle,
thinking about this for a long time.
On a
If I
principle?
get offered the choice,
Yeah.
and I'm being truthful,
yep, okay. Well,
never happened to me
We're going to
before.
pursue our rights as well, as you can understand.
I
I'll
understand,
try
sir.
to appeal to you, but all right, that's your grounds. You're making a stand on it.
At this stage, we're going to upgrade the search. We don't believe his story. He says he refused the frisk on principle alone. We told him that we think he's carrying narcotics on his body somewhere, and we're upgrading the search to a higher search at the moment.
The passenger is led away to an interview room as officers wait for a Justice of the Peace to arrive. Now the dog unit has been contacted. And a drug swab has been taken from the passenger's bag. But what's about to happen puts officers in one of the most extraordinary situations. And in next week's show, the amazing truth behind the man who acted on principle.
I think he's realised the game's up now.
In Melbourne, Customs is questioning a Cambodian woman suspected of coming to Australia to work illegally. Immigration officer Marco has arrived on the scene to assess the situation.
Okay, she's here to visit family for 3 months.
Yep.
She says she's visiting a friend of her sister, but she's never met the friend before, from what I can tell.
Yep.
That's the organisation she works for.
Yep.
Marco decides to escort the woman to an immigration interview room to question her with the help of an interpreter.
Basically what we have is a person who's come in from Cambodia, has got a visa which they applied for overseas. She's basically brought a whole lot of documents with her, studied in law, certificates and that. Would you like some water? So whether or not she's looking at something here, very unusual that they bring work references or any sort of certificates on a general sort of holiday.
People who arrive in Australia to work illegally are often found with work documents, personal papers and references, which a tourist is unlikely to have.
The other thing is the ID cards she's provided. There's a lot of ID cards using the same photo over a period of 2 years, which I wouldn't expect to be common. And the other concern is as well the signatures, if they are the signatures of hers on the cards, seem to be all different to what she signed today when she's come in. She signed an immigration card in a different signature. So there's a bit of a concern there whether they actually are her ID cards.
A Canadian passenger who says he's here for a holiday was found wandering in the wrong part of the customs hall. When officers decided to frisk him, the passenger refused on a principle.
We told him that we think he's carrying narcotics on him, on his body somewhere, and we're upgrading the search to a higher search at the moment.
We've got grounds to detain you, as we do with a lot of people. It would be a lot easier for you and for us. I'm not pushing pressure on you, but honestly, you know,
For once, I'm going to stand my ground.
But if you want to
honestly, I've been thinking about this for a long time.
On a
if I get offered the choice, and I'm being truthful,
okay. Well,
never happened to me
We're
before.
going to pursue our rights as well, as you can understand. I've tried to appeal to you, but all right, that's your grounds. You're making a stand on it.
So at the moment, he's refusing the frisk search. If we take him to a room, he's going to refuse an external search because it's a high level of search. So at the moment, we're just trying to get a JP to come and speak to him. And we've give the Justice reasons of why he should be frisk searched or body searched. If the JP makes that decision, he can order it to be conducted, the strip search.
The passenger is led away to an interview room as officers wait for a Justice of the Peace to arrive. Now the dog unit has been contacted and a drug swab has been taken from the passenger's bag. At Sydney Airport, a flight from Singapore has landed and an Indian student embarking on a year of study in Australia is about to get his first exam from Quaratine.
So this is your signature?
Yep.
Yes? You read this incoming passenger card?
Yep.
You read it and you understood it?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Can you undo this bag, sir?
What we've got here is a bag that appears to have quite a large amount of food here, and here. These are all organic items, so nothing's been declared on this passenger's card. So June's going to have a look at these bags today.
We're just looking in your bag, sir. We've actually seen something on the screen as your bag comes in.
It's an iron one.
Sorry, what was
it? Made of iron, metal or anything?
No.
No.
What we're looking
this
for
is
food. You got lots of food.
Yes,
You got lots of food in there too. You got food in there too. Yeah, lots of food. You didn't declare it.
When I asked you the questions and I asked you if you'd read the card and you understood it, question 6 clearly says any food. Sir, in your bag we have found food. Now, you have made a false declaration here. Here, I asked you, and you read the card, you understood it, and here you have said no,
I can
to
understand.
food. Sir, there is food. This is food in your bag, and you have said
I
no.
said that
well, why did you say no when you
I'm
have
saying
food
about-
in your bag?
I'm saying about this.
Sir, we are not
handbag.
interested in that bag. In this bag, you have food, and you have said no. We're going to go through all the food. We're also
And the
going to go
consequences
through
for
that
not
case
declaring
also.
food can be severe, and a lesson this student won't forget. A passenger has been taken to an interview room after refusing a frisk search. Now an itemiser test will reveal if he's been in contact with drugs.
Yeah, we got a positive reading for cocaine. So the passenger's in the room there. He's suddenly decided that he wants to have the frisk search done. I don't know what's prompted him to get to that stage, except it's taken a while, and it's going to take a while longer for that JP to get here. So I think he's realised the game's up now. And we've just done a frisk search on him, and there's been a package located in his groin area. So we'll go back in now and see if we can find out what the package is. He pulled it out straight from under the undies. He's doing way out.
I've notified the Australian Federal Police. They will be attending shortly. If they wish, we deconstruct the package to do a field test or a nick test, which will give us more conclusive evidence.
But first, the dog is taken into the interview room to see if he reacts to the package.
When you see a dog's running out with a towel in their mouth, that's positive. Yeah, okay.
Big dog.
At Sydney's International Airport, a student has arrived with bags of undeclared food, and now officers are discovering that some of the items might be prohibited.
So we're going to have a look at all the different products he's got today, because he may actually have some prohibited items with him and they're not declared. What are these called?
This is called, what we say, peda.
Peda?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what it's made of?
Milk.
Milk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Milk from India is prohibited because India has foot and mouth disease. If foot and mouth disease was to get into Australia, that would be devastating to our farmers. It would cost probably billions of dollars to Australian industry, so it's probably one of our riskiest items to enter Australia, and that's why we have to be so careful that it doesn't come in.
The milk products are not the only threat that this student is carrying into Australia. Another high-risk item could mean he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Just to make sure there's nothing.
A Canadian traveller refused a frisk search because he said he was acting on a principle. But when customs officers took him into an interview room, the man suddenly produced this huge package, which was stuffed down his pants, just visible here.
So that's the package that he had in his groin. We're just going to gimlet a bit of the powder out of it, assuming it's powder inside, and test it in a field narcotic test to see what's inside.
Yeah, it's a white powder, as you can see. So just be careful getting it out, because you don't want to flick it. This could be potentially very toxic, so you don't want to inhale any of it.
A small sample is placed in the narco pouch and the chemicals will react if the substance is a narcotic.
So we've just done a presumptive test on the package, and it's come up positive for cocaine. We took a bit of powder out, put it in the test kit, and got a good reading. And so we'll bring the package back into the room, and the Federal Police will arrest him and take him away.
The Australian Federal Police charged the man for importing almost 1 kilo of cocaine with a street value of approximately $430,000. At the Sydney Mail Handling Centre, a box of coffee from Indonesia is raising some concerns.
Very expensive coffee by the look of it, by the way it's packed.
Quarantine Officer Nick has discovered that this is no ordinary coffee.
I've never actually seen this product before, and I've worked at the airport for over 10 years, and I've been in quarantine for almost 20 years, so it's totally new to me.
It's called Kopi Luwak, and it's the world's most expensive and most bizarre coffee.
It appears that this coffee is eaten by this particular animal called a luwak, which is like a mongoose. It's called a palm civet by another name. And the coffee passes through the digestive system and is then defecated into the orchard, and then the coffee then is picked up and roasted. And that's what it ends up like this.
Yes, you heard correctly. Defecated, picked up and roasted. But what concerns Quarantine is not the coffee itself, but the unusual additives it could contain.
Having passed through an animal, its digestive system, there is a risk that there could still be residue there, and that's what we're holding it for. What I'm seeing on here is that it is highly processed, but we still need to hold it pending further advice from the importer to prove that it has been processed sufficiently to negate any quarantine risk.
But the greatest care has to be taken by officers. Biological contaminants from the digestive tract of any foreign animal could potentially be a devastating threat to Australia.
So what do you plan to do in Australia?
Immigration Officer Marco is questioning a Cambodian tourist who has arrived in the country with work documents.
So I'm a bit confused because on one hand you're telling me you're coming here for a holiday and now you're talking about raising money.
However, if the woman is in the country to work, in contravention of her tourist visa, she may not be permitted entry.
At this stage, she's claiming to come for a holiday for 3 months. The people that she's staying with, she doesn't personally know, and she keeps referring that the documents are to show people in Australia. It's a bit conflicting. We're not sure. There's just some concern of what her actual purpose is here, but we're just trying to find out. I'll contact the friend and see what the friend in Australia has to say.
So the outcome of this phone call could determine whether Tiung can stay in Australia or be turned back at the border. Back at the International Mail Handling Centre, Officer Nick is gathering information on the highly prized Kopi Luwak, coffee which has been passed through the digestive tract of a cat-like animal called the palm civet.
We don't know the details of how it's been processed. We hold it for further advice, and then it's the actual importer's responsibility to tell us or show us that it's okay. And if they can prove that without any doubt, we can then release the goods to them.
Luwaks only eat the choicest and ripest coffee berries. As the berry passes through the luwak's gut, the fleshy exterior is digested, leaving the bean to pass through intact. The professional packaging and consistency of the beans has Nick mostly satisfied with clearing the coffee.
According to the website, it actually says that it has a lower bacterial count than normally roasted coffee, but that has still to be proven, so we need to hold that for further advice.
Luwak coffee sells for up to $1,000 US per kilo. That's about $50 per cup. But for that sort of money, these unusual ornamental pieces, sealed in resin, are part of the package. And they are an even bigger problem because they contain very visible fecal matter. If one of them was to break open, they could release diseases into the Australian environment.
We probably will release this particular coffee here. I'd say ultimately we'll keep the raw beans in the resin because they still have contaminant on the outside of them. We might release them, but because of the value, it's saying it's US $1,000 per kilo, and there's 7 kilos in this consignment, we'll need to refer it to the Australian Customs Service, and they will probably have to pay duty of some kind.
In this case, the world's most expensive cup of coffee has just gone up in price. An Indian student carrying a lot of undeclared food is about to discover the implications of his mistake.
So you've also got raw cotton here.
No, this one is
It's raw, yes, it's raw cotton. You're also not allowed to bring this in. And if we have a look at some of the packs there, it's also infested. We've actually got some infestation there in the raw cotton, so I'm going to have to take that off you too.
You can see here, there's all sorts of contamination in the cotton. India has a range of different diseases that Australia doesn't have, and we need to be really careful about what this cotton may be contaminated with. Australia's got quite a strong cotton industry, and you can see here there's some sort of infestation, whether it be plant or what. We don't know what that is, so we can't allow that into Australia at all. And there's a large amount of it here too. What are you going to do with this one?
This is used for God.
Oh, for your worship.
Yeah, and some ghee is poured in this.
Ghee is put in it?
Yeah,
and do you burn
lighted, and this is used for worshipping.
Right, okay. Yeah, so it's obviously of cultural significance to the gentleman, but unfortunately Australians' quarantine laws come in front of that, and we have to protect our farmers. Our farmers are having a tough time as it is. They don't need a new disease to be brought in. I mean, if a disease got into our cotton industry, it could wipe it out and potentially have such an economic impact on our farmers that they really don't need.
And this new addition to the long list of prohibited goods they've already found in his bags has just doubled the seriousness of this offence.
Yes, hello. My name's Mark. I'm calling from Immigration at Melbourne Airport. Are you expecting someone from overseas today?
Immigration officer Marco is trying to find out if a Cambodian tourist is in Australia for legitimate or illegal reasons.
So do you know the husband, do you? And is the husband coming out to Australia? Or? Only the wife, so he's not coming out at all.
His digging uncovers a new inconsistency in the woman's story.
Basically, we're going to have to clarify a few things because one of the big things is they're not expecting the husband to be visiting Australia, who was the main applicant of the visa application, so it causes us a bit of concern.
A popular scam in some countries is for single women to pose as married in order to obtain a visa, only to travel alone once it is issued. Marco discusses the new finding with his supervisor.
Was there ever any intention of them coming as a couple? Because it could be understandable if they went as a couple to get the visas and then there were, emergency situations that created this situation where she needs to travel by herself. Yeah. But if the friends didn't know that the husband was ever coming, so follow that.
The officers need to determine if the woman would have been issued the visa in her own right. They are also perplexed about her numerous ID cards.
I've got concerns about all these documents. I mean, give me a good reason why she needs two from the same organisation, issued on exactly the same day. The driver's licence has been issued only 2 months ago.
I mean, my concern is whether or not she is who she says she is, whether there's any, and whether she's actually the actual wife of the person or maybe someone else.
Quarantine officers have found an array of undeclared prohibited items in a passenger's bags. Some of the items could potentially be disastrous for the environment.
There is a risk, you see a cotton bud, you've dropped it and you'll throw it away and then that go into the rubbish, into landfill, and any seeds in that cotton bud, which is a simple little cotton bud, can have 20 seeds that we can't see, can go into a plant that will bring in other diseases and pests that we don't have here already. There's a lot of brown spots in there, so it's not a high level of processing. We need something that's got a high level of processing to allow it into Australia. So with these, you can see that there's something still in there, so I'm not satisfied.
And if the passenger has knowingly ignored the law, the penalty will be high.
I'm happy with whatever decision you want to make.
I feel that he should be queened. And with the cotton, I can understand with the cotton because he might not sort of think that that is a problem. But the amount of food, no, it's too huge.
Yep,
it's too high risk.
Yep, I'm satisfied.
Okay?
Great.
All right. The problem here is that he hasn't declared anything. His English is very good, he understands everything. So if he had any doubt whatsoever, then he should have put yes, because he knows that this is food. Today, I'm going to fine you $220. When it says any food, it doesn't matter whether you're carrying, whether it's in the hold, it doesn't matter. Even if it's on yourself, it is still food. You must declare food.
The passenger was fined $220 for bringing undeclared and prohibited items into Australia.
Regarding the land. To receive the plan.
Back in immigration, Marco is still trying to figure out the identity of this Cambodian woman.
How come each of these identity cards, which have been issued over a period of 2 years, have all the same photo on them?
Driving license, they take a photo from yourself, and the other one, if you have to take a photo and put on the paper.
So any of these identity cards that I have in front of me, have you signed any of them with your own signature?
One, and she said she's showing you.
Okay, and that's your signature on this immigration card?
Yes.
Okay, can you sign again for me, please, down the bottom?
With this new information, Marco must now satisfy his boss that Tiung is who she claims to be.
ID cards, she's saying that's a new driver's licence. She's only signed one of these. She says she's got 2 of these ID cards for work. She says one because she's an assistant to the lawyer, and that's used to access the courts and that. Whereas this one she uses in general when she's helping out people to get land titles and plans. And this is the only one she's signed, which pretty much sort of matches up.
Immigration officers have finally received some information from their colleagues overseas.
So the person you've got in front of you is that person?
Yes.
I think one of the important things was that we were thinking, would the overseas post have granted the visa if they knew that she was travelling by herself without the husband? And everything seems to indicate that she would have been granted the visa anyway.
Okay, basically what happened is we finished with our line of questioning. Okay, we're satisfied that you're a genuine tourist to Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
The woman was told the terms of her visa once again and allowed to stay in the country to enjoy her holiday. A flight from Vietnam has landed and these passengers are about to find out that they're in for some intense scrutiny.
The flight's come out of Vietnam, which is a high-risk country for narcotics, and there seems to be a lot of heroin coming out of there. And we've basically got as many resources as possible to try and speak to as many people as possible on that flight, ascertain whether they're legitimate travellers or not, and whether there's any possible narcotic couriers on there.
Information has been received that there are drugs on this flight, and no stone will be left unturned as officers try to find the prohibited narcotics.
Do you know you're going to meet anyone?
You don't have any other income.
We're going to get as many officers as possible out onto the floor area. They will go and question as many people as possible.
The drugs could be on the passengers, in their baggage, or dumped on the plane. And if that's the case, the entire plane has to be thoroughly searched, like this previous search on another flight. For the officers, it takes time and a lot of diligence.
Depending on obviously how they think of the people and what the answers are, etc., then they'll target them for possibly a further search.
The dog unit is brought in to help the officers with this broad sweep of passengers. At this point, the dogs are also working at the primary line.
Is yours stayed in a hotel?
And then a possible breakthrough.
Yankee 1.
With an unlikely passenger, a heavily pregnant woman travelling with a young child. Could this be their drug mule? It's Customs' job to protect Australia's borders, and with thousands of passengers processed every day, it's not an easy task. But today in Melbourne, it's made even harder when a Chinese girl decides to be difficult during questioning.
What did you study in China?
I finished my bachelor degree and then go to New Zealand to carry on my postgraduate. It means I can get the master degree in New Zealand.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, of course, that's fine. You
can check the New Zealand visa.
That's fine.
At first.
I had a look at that already. What I want to do is ask you.
She's travelling with this girl. The pair study together in New Zealand, and it appears they also attend the same school of etiquette.
Like we said before, we're just doing our job and we have to assess the reason why you're here.
anyone can use this in school.
Bringing bad manners over the border is not a crime. But if it's a tactic to hide something, officers need to know.
Yeah. Now, what I want to know is what are you doing here in Australia? You've come to Melbourne, so when you leave the airport, what will you do for 7 days in Australia?
Just go around. You're like a visitor.
Okay. What are you going to go and visit?
Over at the other bench, they're having just as much trouble getting straight answers.
Today we're having a look because of you'll come for a short time and you don't know really what you're going to do here.
Why do you need to know the reason?
We need to make sure that you're coming here for legitimate reasons.
At the Sydney Airport Mail Handling Centre, sniffer dogs are routinely brought in to inspect the huge volume of goods entering Australia through the post every day.
Yeah, we're going to walk around there.
These dogs are able to detect even the tiniest traces of animal or plant material amongst thousands of boxes.
Good job. Find it here. It's funny. Good boy. Good boy. Ready? Up. Good dog. Good dog. Woo! Good boy. Good dog. Good dog. Good boy. What a clever boy.
AC has reacted to one package which will now have to be examined.
It's quite large. Obviously, the dog's picked it up. It's declared as business papers, which is interesting.
The box is already bursting open. But until officers examine the contents, they won't know why the sniffer dog reacted. Customs has received information that there's drugs on this flight from Vietnam. Officers have been talking to the passengers, and now one unlikely suspect has emerged. A heavily pregnant woman has been taken to an interview room.
The woman has come to notice at the primary line, where you get your passport stamped. The dog was running up there, showed interest in her. As a result, one of the officers has targeted her for a further search. She was given a card for a frisk search after the bag examination. Now, she's chosen to consent to that frisk search, but she's chosen to have it in a private room, which is totally her choice. And the officers have gone to the room to conduct the frisk search.
During the frisk search, officers noticed something wasn't right about the way she was wearing her shoes. So Officer Renee has taken them to be x-rayed.
There's something in the base of the shoe, the sand shoe. When you look inside, there's also glue. Looks like the shoe's been recently glued.
We won't know until we actually lift the sole a little and test it. But we'll wait till the Federal Police come over and we'll hand the shoes over to them. And if they want us to test it, then it'll be up to them.
And there's now further intelligence which suggests that officers need to look much more closely at other passengers off this flight, and in particular, their footwear.
Anything in your shoe?
In Melbourne, customs officers are trying to work out why two ill-mannered girls arriving from New Zealand are refusing to answer questions.
Okay, my concerns are you have come to Australia, but you have no idea what you want to do or see here. So I'm a bit concerned about that. It is unusual for somebody to come... But for me, it's unusual for somebody to come to Australia.
I think the reason probably is my citizen is Chinese. That's the reason.
No, it's got nothing to do with that.
Officer Maria checks the girl's bags, which is met with more protest from the passenger.
If you use the X-ray, you can find the food or anything.
I'm not concerned about food today, but I need to make sure.
So I think you don't have right to examine my baggage.
Okay, let me just explain to you what's happening here. When you travel through an international airport, customs have the right to search your bags and make sure that everything is legitimate. And we have the right to search you as a person to make sure you're here for legitimate reasons. Okay, does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you?
Okay, just carry on.
No, I just want you to understand what we're doing here today.
I understand.
You understand?
Yes.
And it's not what's there, but what isn't there that suggests this girl might be trying to hide something.
Is this all the clothing you have?
Yes.
So this is all you have for 7 days? Not very much.
You know, if you just have a trip in one country, it's enough.
Yeah, this is okay. For me, it's different. I think I need to bring a lot more things.
Officer Maria is about to discover something in her bags that could explain why this girl is being so guarded. Back at the Sydney Mail Handling Centre, a quarantine dog has just reacted to a package from the UK.
It's declared as business papers, but it looks like it's going to be full of sort of fresh cuttings or...
It's all cuttings, plant material.
Yeah.
Plant material, even if it looks to be dried out and dead, can pose a major quarantine risk. But to make matters worse, all of this plant material seems to be very much alive.
Yeah, so it's totally misdeclared.
Obvious deception, yeah.
For plant cuttings to be sent through the post for commercial purposes, all for scientific research, strict guidelines have to be followed to ensure safety to our environment and crops.
Yeah, it's full of it. That's all that's in here is just live plants, so they've obviously tried to conceal them by misdeclaring them. Looks like they're wrapped in some type of banana leaf there. And there's a different type of plant in the centre there. But it looks like it's all the same species of plant. I'm not sure what species it is, but it looks like it's for growing purposes, not for eating or that type of thing.
But the contents of this box contain a risk much greater than just the plants. A passenger off a flight from Vietnam has been taken to an interview room for further questioning over a suspected drug concealment in her shoes. Now officers are talking to another female passenger.
Look, basically what's happened is that other woman there with it in her shoes, she's put the same address down.
The first woman has come to notice at the primary line, and a female that was travelling behind her at the time in the queue, when she walked through, he asked her if she was actually travelling with her, to which she replied no. It appears as though her surname is the same surname as the one that the dog has shown interest to, and they both live at the same address, but she stated she's not travelling with her and she just met her on the plane. So her bag was searched, etc. She's travelling with 2 children. Now, I don't think the actual children are involved in it. Now, the officers are going to go and do a frisk search of her.
I'm just going to touch the outside of your clothing. I won't touch your skin at any time. If you feel uncomfortable, just let me know and I stop. Do you have anything in your shoes?
No.
You don't have anything in your shoes?
You're fine with that? Yeah, okay,
Nothing from the frisk search, but officers are still more interested in the passenger's shoes.
We think you're hiding something in your shoes, okay? We think you're hiding something in your shoes.
No,
You got nothing in your shoes?
Yeah, I buy from shop and I wear.
You wear, okay, so there's nothing in it?
Nothing.
Okay, do you mind if we have a look in your shoes?
In Melbourne, Customs has been searching the bags of 2 girls with a bad attitude. The pair plan on staying here for a week, but Officer Maria becomes suspicious when she discovers one of the girls brought very few clothes and no toiletries.
What will you see and do in Melbourne?
Just have a trip and go to the university to find some fine things.
Some
some fun information about the university.
Oh, you want to
Because
study in Australia?
No.
No?
No, I won't. It's computer.
Yeah. How come you bring your computer with you?
Because I bring my computer every day.
Yeah?
So I use this for my life and for my study.
Oh, okay. How come you carry all these papers?
Because it's a very important document.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
So you don't want to leave it at home?
I live in New Zealand. It's not a citizen. So I should bring everything, very important things with me.
Oh, okay. Is this one like a resume or a CV?
Yes.
Yeah?
She does not have a visa to work in Australia, so the discovery of her CV could explain why she's being so evasive.
Do you want to work in Australia?
No.
No? Do you want to study in Australia?
No.
No.
At this stage, officers need to know if these girls are a customs or immigration risk. And over at the other bench, they discover a piece of the puzzle that could finally explain exactly why these girls are here.
This one here, Melbourne, what does that mean in the money here?
It means if we want this person to help us, this is the money I should pay for them.
Officers want to know what this document means and why these girls are seeking help that costs more than $1,000. At the mail handling centre, a large box of fresh plants has been detected and Officer Loudon is examining the contents.
Okay, we'll just pull a couple of these out and see if there's any material in there that might be harbouring insects or anything like that. Just give these a bang here. Oh, there we go. There's something there. It looks like it may be still moving a little bit. It looks like it may have been crushed, but some type of mosquito has come off there, so I'll just...
Mosquitoes are among the biggest natural killers on the planet, thanks to their ability to spread diseases like malaria and dengue fever. While Australia is free from these diseases, it only takes a few stray insects to cause a major problem.
There could also be some eggs in there from the mosquitoes because they're known for laying eggs where they only need a small amount of moisture and they could lay hundreds of eggs, so you don't know how long he's been in there.
The problem is that mosquitoes are tiny and tough and can survive for days inside a box like this.
Okay, we'll give this a quick spray. Just in case there's any flying around in there still.
This box and its contents will be incinerated. Because of the false declaration, the recipient of the parcel will be entered into the Aquis database for further investigation. With information that there's drugs on this flight from Vietnam, Customs are doing a sweep of all the passengers. Officers already suspect one pregnant mother of having drugs in her shoes. And now they are taking a closer look at this passenger.
We think you're hiding something in your shoes.
No,
You got nothing in your shoes?
Yeah, I buy from shop and I wear.
You wear? Okay,
Yeah.
so there's nothing in it?
Nothing.
Have you done the frisk on her?
Yeah, just
She refuses to take the shoes. Okay. So you want the shoes removed, so we're upgrading to an external. Okay.
Okay, do you mind if we have a look in your shoes?
Yeah.
You do mind?
Yeah.
You don't mind?
I don't understand what you mean.
We want to look in your shoes, okay? You don't have to let us look, okay? It's only up to you. But if you don't let us look, we're going to upgrade to an external search. That means you have to remove certain articles of your clothing, okay? Do you understand?
Yeah.
You understand? Okay. So we would like to see your shoes.
Yeah.
Can we see your shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't mind taking them off?
Yeah. No.
You don't mind?
I don't understand what you mean.
Okay.
What mine?
We want you to take off your shoes.
Yeah.
But you don't have to, okay?
I can.
You can take off your shoes?
Yeah.
Okay, can we see them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you do?
I buy some shop and they just give me.
And officers notice a similarity between this passenger's shoes and the shoes found earlier, which had a drug concealment.
They're quite heavy. There's some glue in there. As soon as she took them off, she said that she bought them from the shop I didn't ask her anything about them. She just started saying she bought them from the shop. So we're going to x-ray them now and see what happens.
She's just not cooperating
In
at
Melbourne,
all.
officers are questioning 2 Chinese girls arriving from New Zealand. They're being extremely evasive, and officers are trying to determine if they're a customs risk.
Oh, you know what? It's just so hard because she's just not cooperating at all. She's got nothing. No clothes, no toiletries, nothing. She's got a camera, which is the only thing consistent to a tourist.
Maria continues questioning the girl, while Kathleen assists Officer Brett with the other passenger. They discover paperwork that appears to explain why the girls are here.
What's the money for?
About to choose the college and
choose the college,
yeah, this kind of things happened.
So do you want to do some study in Australia or?
The purpose of we come here is visit some colleges and make a decision.
It appears the girls are on a fact-finding mission to decide whether or not to study in Australia. But officers are still concerned the pair could be an immigration risk.
After searching through their bags, we decided that they were no longer a risk to customs, but they could possibly be a risk to immigration due to the fact that they were carrying CVs and laptops and minimal clothing, and we had concerns that they may be coming into Australia to work, which would be a breach of their visa.
Officer Maria calls immigration, then delivers the news to the passenger.
I have concerns that you might be here to work, so immigration are going to come and have an interview with you because you have nothing with you today. You don't even have any toiletries. You have all these documents here, which to me suggest that you may be here to work. So I've referred this case to immigration. They're going to come down and have an interview with you and just see if your story is legitimate, if you are here for a tourist reason. Okay?
A pregnant woman is suspected of trying to smuggle drugs into the country in her shoes. And now officers are taking a closer look at another passenger's footwear.
This is an image of the shoes. You can see that the concealment there is quite clear. That's a definite concealment, yes.
You understand English okay, ma'am?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah? Okay. I have a concern with your shoes. I believe there may be something in your shoes. Yeah?
I don't know, yeah.
Because I think there is something in your shoes, I must caution you. I must tell you that you do not have to say or do anything. That anything that you say or that you do, we may use as evidence at a later date. What we might do, we go into an interview room. I will get a phone interpreter in the Vietnamese language, and I will repeat the caution to you in Vietnamese, okay? The chair there.
The second passenger was taken to an interview room, and customs' hard work has paid off.
In this case, basically all they do is pull the sole up, cut the inside out of the shoe, and it's quite a crude concealment. There is only about 1 centimetre to 1.5 centimetres at the rear heel where the foot can fit in.
Officers found drugs hidden in her shoes as well.
Now, when the concealment was put to them, they said they know nothing about it. One said that she was given the shoes by a friend. The other said that she fell over, wrecked her other shoes, went to the markets and bought a new pair of shoes.
The first passenger was found to be carrying 556 grams of heroin in her shoes. The second passenger also had 596 grams of heroin in her shoes. The total street value of the heroin was estimated at $400,000.
They think they can get away with it, but in this case, there's no chance.
Tens of thousands of parcels cross our borders every day, and prohibited items can be concealed in the most unlikely places. And it's a huge task for customs to screen every shipment. That is why they use sophisticated technologies to help them in their job. And it is the air cargo team's role to stay on top of it all and find any concealed items.
Well, obviously, I mean, what most people know about customs is what they see when they come through the airport, but this is what happens behind the scenes. Obviously, there's a great volume of cargo that comes into Australia every day, and Sydney handles about 75% of the air cargo that comes into Australia. And our role is to search all the stuff that's been targeted by our intelligence section, and our major function is to locate narcotics. That's what we exist for.
Teams like David's are engaged in a daily battle as drug cartels try to stay one step ahead.
They'll use whatever means they can. They'll use very intricate concealments, and we've got to try and stay on top of that. Wherever we can get to it, we'll get to it and we'll have a look at it.
And officers are about to find something that they've never seen before. At Melbourne's International Airport, a dishevelled Englishman has hit the ground talking.
Hello again.
And customs are concerned about his behaviour.
It's my first time. I'm inexperienced on travelling about. I've asked that many people, how do you get from here to there to that? I've had an arduous journey, had hardly any sleep. Well, I was just about to get outside and wipe myself for that, actually. Give myself a brush down, but that's about it.
So your friend that's getting married, is he going to pick you up?
He is going to pick us up from outside.
He's going to be outside?
Yeah.
And when's he getting married?
He's getting married on Phillip Island.
OK. Is that West End?
It's going to be a good one. There's loads of other English people coming over as well, though. So it's going to be a bit of a mixed drink-up.
James is a little bewildered by all the attention, but it hasn't stunted his conversation.
So, come over, have a holiday, and I thought, well, why not?
And do you have any other plans for Australia? What will you do?
Yeah, just to meet lots of people and have lots of fun and try not to drink too much or get locked up.
Now, there's a line guaranteed to get the officer's attention.
Have you been locked up before?
Customs air cargo team has been given a heads up from their intelligence unit about this freight that has just arrived in Sydney. Information is the key. If the intelligence looks good, then Dave and his team will have a closer look.
Got some stuff that's selected because of it's been decided that it's a risk. That could be where it's come from, what it is, where it's going to, the flight that it's coming off. There's a whole host of reasons that mean that the cargo's been selected for further examination. We've got some stuff here that's claimed to be used personal effects out of South America, from Colombia. Leather from South America, from Argentina. We've got some ceramic tiles, a sample of ceramic tiles out of South America. A grinding wheel out of Colombia as well.
Okay, Lukey. Bye, me. Hey, buddy, come around. Find it. It's a boy. Yeah. Dogs are trying to find the odour of the drug, but we don't actually give drugs to our dogs. Good boy. Okay, buddy, come around. Bye, me. Very good response. That's a positive indication to that box.
So you're just out for...
It's my first time. I'm inexperienced.
In customs at Melbourne Airport, a very chatty passenger has just said a little too much.
Have you been locked up before?
In England, just lots of years ago. I haven't done anything for a long time, and I'm a criminal.
Do you have any convictions or anything?
Not really, no.
What does not really mean?
Well, just like previous in England, drunk and disorderly.
Yeah.
Things like that, really.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing really violent. I'm not a criminal as a go.
Did you have to go to court for it, or?
Yeah, and got that off, yeah. Always misled, you see, by idiots.
Right. Easily misled, eh?
Yeah, well, one of them.
You travel light. Where's your suit? You're going to a wedding.
Well, I've got... What do you think the money's there for? To buy
right.
things. Travel light, get what I need, get to the wedding, get everything done, get back home, relax. Because weddings are stressful as enough as it is. Because I've only ever had 3 holidays in my life, and I thought, well, Australia's going to be the best place to go for fun and everything.
Yeah.
Like sun, sea and sand. I was told to be watch out for spiders, snakes and everything else.
Okay.
Now James can add customs to that list too.
I have had hassle in the past for looking the way I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Well, just England, basically.
Yeah?
Well, yeah. Looks a bit of a thug type, but honestly, I'm not.
You all right? You a bit sweaty?
I am, yeah, because I haven't had any sleep yet.
A Malaysian cook has arrived in Sydney and immigration officers have their suspicions that he is here to work illegally.
I've got a 31-year-old Malaysian gentleman who's arrived here on a tourist visa. He said he's here for 7 days. He's said to me briefly that he's here for 2 days in Sydney and then he's going on to Melbourne.
Officer Greg is in charge of investigating if the man is a bona fide tourist or not.
We do have a problem where Malaysians have been known to come into Australia to work while on tourist visas. Okay, so why have you come to Australia today, Mr. Lim?
For tourism purpose.
Okay. And how long do you intend to stay?
1 week.
1 week?
Yes.
Have you been to Australia before?
你以前嚟過澳洲未啊？
Now, the concern is he doesn't have any definite plans for his stay in Sydney. He's going to be travelling down to Melbourne, but he doesn't have any flights or bus booked to Melbourne or any accommodation. Also, the concern is he doesn't know anything at all about what he's going to be doing in Melbourne.
But officers are about to discover that the passengers' limited travel arrangements are not the only cause for concern. In customs, the air cargo team has just had a positive reaction from a drug detector dog to one of the parcels they had selected for checking.
Yeah, very happy with that. As you saw from the reaction given by the dog, obviously we're going to have a bit closer look at that consignment and go off and x-ray the package and have a look at that.
The team want to run some more tests on the suspicious package and will now put it through the x-ray.
We can see our disc. It looks like there's some inconsistencies in the middle of the disc.
The package contains a heavy industrial grinding wheel. It should look the same all the way through, and it's hard to believe that anything could be hidden inside.
If you change the sensitivity and put a negative, I mean, we're getting quite a lot of evidence that there's probably something inside there that may be organic. Now, that may be just the makeup of the object that's inside, or it could indicate that there is something that we might be interested in the way of narcotics inside it. So we'll open it up and have a look.
With a good dog reaction and a suspicious x-ray, the customs level of interest in this parcel has escalated.
So have you had a few beers on the way over, mate?
I had about 3 or 4 in Shanghai.
Back at Melbourne Airport, Customs Officer Craig is both amused and confused. He's speaking to a very animated passenger who's avoiding a particular subject, so he's asking the questions again in the hope of getting some answers.
So when you were telling me before about when you were in trouble with the police before, was it drunk and disorderly?
Well, just like walking down the street, as everybody in England normally does, drunk. I'm sure you're getting it in Melbourne too.
Yeah.
That you've had a bit too much, mate. Go home. Okay, fair enough. Off.
But did you have to go to court for it?
No, nothing at all. I haven't been in trouble since a court conviction. The last one was chucked out of court. That I never had any trouble to do with whatsoever because it wasn't even my fault.
But have you been to the court yourself?
No, not for years, definitely not. You
no, not for years. So you said not for years. What was the last? I don't care if it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
The last one? Well, just drunk, really.
Drunk, yeah. Drunk. And did you get a conviction for it?
No, not at all. No, just like wasting police time, court like that.
Have you ever been convicted of anything in your life? We don't want to know about the last thing, we want to know about anything at any time.
Right. Drunk and disorderly. Violent disorder through drink. Right? This is like 1981, 82.
Were you convicted of any of those charges?
No, I haven't been to jail, I haven't had this. I've had a fine in the past for criminal damage. And that's it.
But officers are still not convinced that James is just here for a good time. In immigration, a Malaysian cook has officers suspicious that he's not just here for a holiday. and it might not be the first time that this passenger has lied to authorities.
Now, you're saying that you had a working visa for the UK?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we contact the British immigration authorities and we find out that you are not telling the truth, you understand the penalties? Okay. Did you have a working visa for the UK?
Getting a straight answer is proving a challenge.
Okay. So how did you obtain your visa for the UK?
I was partly studying and I was partly working.
What type of visa did you have in the UK?
Student visa.
A student visa. Okay. You told me before you had a working visa.
I made a mistake. It was a student visa.
Did the student
The
visa...
only way to confirm the truth would be to contact UK immigration. But for privacy reasons, officers need the passenger's permission to access this personal information. But Mr. Lim has refused.
The strongest point where we have very strong concerns, Mr. Lim, is because you cannot tell me anything about your stay in the UK and you will not give me permission to verify the details of your visa in the UK. Because you are being so evasive about your time in the UK, it really makes me consider that you are not telling me the whole truth about why you are coming to Australia.
Customs officers at Melbourne Airport are trying the direct approach with a passenger whose story seems to be going around in circles. So it's time to get to the point.
Like on your card here, everyone needs to declare any type of convictions.
Right, and I'll put no.
Okay, so we just need to confirm if you've actually been convicted of anything.
Well, in England, right, when you're convicted of something, right, like anything outstanding, say burglary, theft, criminal damage, arson, all like that, after a while, if you keep out of trouble and you haven't done anything, it's squished. It's like non-existent. It's like you're not even worth the bother.
So the convictions you've had have been...
They're all like I said, they're all out the way. I am a different person altogether.
So
I
you
might
did
be a
have
bit...
convictions in the past?
Well,
That's what you're saying?
yes.
Okay.
That's why I ticked it wrong. I apologise. I should have said yes, but
that's what we were trying to establish.
I didn't think they would be outstanding enough to bother anybody.
There are many methods officers use to uncover past convictions, and one of them is the incoming passenger card. Now Customs can refer this passenger to immigration, where they'll decide if he is allowed to stay or go.
Well, it's way beyond me, but I'm telling the truth, and if you want to check up,
That's
by
all we
all
want.
means do.
Customs use sophisticated technologies to target potential threats.
Backed up by,
With the X-ray and the dog reaction, the team needs to get inside the package and have a closer look.
We're not 100% convinced either way that we have got something or we haven't got something. We don't know that until we actually go in and satisfy ourselves that there's nothing in there. And to do that with this sort of, whatever this is, it's very thick as you can see on the X-ray. We're going to need to go in, and I'd suggest we're going to need to probably have a drill or something to have a look. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, it's an abrasive wheel or a grinding wheel. It's actually got a bit of a crack around the side here, so it's possibly been dropped somewhere. See if we can see any seams or anything where we may be able to get into it.
If this is a narcotic concealment, it's a professional job.
There's a crack here, which we may be able to use to get further into it. I mean, there's no seams or anything on it. I think that there's something in there. It looks a bit hollow behind the crack, so what we'll do is we'll run a drill through it and see what we come up with.
Immigration has interviewed the passenger, and after learning of his past convictions, they've established that he doesn't pose a threat to the Australian community while here on holidays.
Quite happy with that, and I'm happy with him.
Well, thank you very much.
You're
I'm sorry to trouble you all.
Okay. So, it's all clear for James.
Am I allowed to go soon then?
This is it, mate. Yeah.
Right.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Next time I get a flight back, I'm not drinking when I land. Definitely not.
And with all that behind him, James is finally on holidays. Customs officers believe that they may have uncovered a very professional narcotic concealment. A parcel they selected for examination has had a positive dog reaction and a suspicious X-ray, leading the officers to think that there may be something in there.
So basically, we've had a bit of a look, and where the cracks are here, it looks there's a bit of a blue material, maybe some tape or something, and it looks a bit hollow inside. So, I mean, we'll run a drill in and see what we can come up with. We might sort of be able to pick up a bit of the substance that's inside, bring it out, and then we can test that using the different testing methodologies that we've got, and that'll tell us whether there is something in there or not that we might be interested in.
It is only in extreme cases that customs will drill into cargo, and a suspected drug importation is one such case.
It's fairly easy. I might just run another one. It's hard to start off with, and it becomes easy as you go further in.
In immigration, a Malaysian passenger with vague holiday plans has officers suspicious that he might be here to work illegally.
He still hasn't given a satisfactory explanation about what he's going to be doing during his stay in Australia and about how he's going to organise the rest of his tour. And he continues to be very, very vague about what he did while he was in the UK, and continues to refuse to allow us to contact the UK immigration authorities to verify his visa status.
Back in the interview room, Mr. Lim has a final opportunity to prove his case.
Is there any other point you would like to make before we make our decision, Mr. Lim?
Now, if you don't believe me, you hold my passport and let me into Australia to do my tourism purpose.
Okay.
And I'm here for holiday only.
Okay. Okay, if you don't have anything else to add, Mr. Lim, I'm going to suspend the interview. It is...
Unfortunately for Mr. Lim, the offer to hold his passport while he holidays is not accepted.
Number one or two, because of his vague travel plans, and number two, because his refusal to let us do any more checking on his time in the UK leads me to believe that, yeah, he's not a genuine tourist. So, unfortunately, in this case, it looks like the decision is not going to be in his favour.
Mr. Lim's visa was cancelled and he was returned to Singapore the same day. Customs air cargo team is drilling into this grinding wheel, which arrived by post from Colombia. And they've uncovered some suspect powder.
Yeah, there is, and there you can see it there. In the flutes of the drill, quite an amount of white powder. We'll now take that powder and conduct some tests on that, and that's more than enough we need to take our tests. Some of the material that we believe is quite possibly a narcotic substance we got on the end of the drill. We're going to drop a bit of this into a chemical field test that we've got, and that'll give us a pretty good idea of what it is, or it'll pretty much confirm our suspicions as to what it might be. Yeah, that's looking quite good. You can see up the top of the tube there where the sample went and stuck to the side of the tube. That's turned blue, and that's the colour that we'd expect it to turn in the presence of cocaine with that particular chemical test.
Concealed deep inside the grinding wheel, Customs found almost 2 kilos of cocaine, with an estimated street value of over $1 million. The grinding wheel was handed over to the Australian Federal Police.